Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together these boxes that can hold a 24-ounce Starbucks cold cup or something similar. So this is the short version with a hole in the lid, and then we have a tall version which hides the straw inside. So you have your choice between the two. There are two different SVG files from Simply Crafty SVGs. So I've had a ton of requests in the last couple years to make a box to hold this reusable Starbucks cold cup with straw. So I just wasn't, the reason I didn't make it, for those that are wondering, that have bought my other boxes, is just the amount of paper that it takes if I want to cover up to the straw. So I did two different boxes. So this video will cover a short version of the box that has a hole in the top of the lid so the straw can come out, because when you buy these they're covered, so they have a plastic cover on them, so you can carefully do that, or you could expose it, or you could put it in the box too. But the other one goes above the straw, so you can just keep the straw in the actual cup, or you can put the straw to the side. I didn't put a straw holder in there. I just figured, you know, the cup has a straw, the way to hold it. So these are both boxes. So we have, this is a small box, and you'll see they're separate. So they're two different files that you can purchase at Simply Crafty SVGs. So it's up to you which preference, so you can see what they look like. And they both are sized to fit this cup optimally. So you can, if you personalize it, you can make a little gift box for somebody to put your personalized item in. So we have less pieces. There's less cardstock needed for the shorter box where the straw goes through the lid, and then more paper for the larger box. So there are a couple things that are similar, so we won't show them twice. Like the basics we'll show you for them. So let's just start. Let me just show you. So I don't want to get them mixed up because I use the same cardstock. So this is 80-pound cardstock. And one thing I want to make clear is that the bigger a box is, especially with an opening like this, it gets flimsy. So I highly suggest that you use the panels because they help strengthen the box. But if you don't, use a pretty heavy-duty cardstock. So this is 80-pound textured coordination cardstock. I normally use American Crafts, but I had this cracked paper from Coordinations, and it's pretty thick, but you can see how it can get flimsy at this point, right? So this is where I would say at least put the panels around the side. So that's what we're going to do first. I don't have to really show you everything, but basically here are the panels. So let me just move this out of the way. So you wouldn't be doing both boxes at once. So for both boxes, there's side panels and lid panels. Sorry, I just lose my concentration for a minute. I always say pre-fold it a little bit right here to make it easier. Just really slightly fold it there so you don't. And there's, for the big box, there's this part. And I'll show you how the other one's folded afterwards, but this is just to illustrate how to put the panels on. It's the same for both boxes. So I'm just moving this out of the way for a minute. The cup's falling down on me. So with both boxes you have 4 panels. 3 of them are solid like that. So you could use cardstock or just regular scrapbook paper. I use scrapbook paper and it does strengthen it. And for this one, for both boxes, it's not as obvious on the small box, but for both boxes, this just centers like this and the taller piece is at the top. So just dry fit it first just to make sure you don't glue it on wrong, okay? So we're just going to center all these panels. We're going to do it on both boxes. So I'm not going to show all that on video. And so we have 4 of them. So those 4. And this, we'll do the same thing with, this is the insert, so I'm going to put that aside. With the lid, and these are some supports, and I'll explain. So that's where some of the differences come between the 2 boxes. So I'm pre-folding it to make it easier to put to center the panels. I find, especially, I have a little bit of a sight issue, only because I have a cataracts in one eye right now. But basically, what we're going to do is center. You see, it's slightly rounded. We're going to center each of these around. So there's 4 of them, and then put the center. So some people might want to save paper and just do the top without panels. That's okay. I'm just giving you options. I do suggest that you put them on the actual box. But if you don't want to put them on the top, it still will look good because the contrast between the paper and the lid will look good. So it's up to you. It's really, to me, it's just a matter of like how much paper you want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put all these panels on. And then I'll put them on the little one as well. So I'll just keep the cameras rolling, but it's going to go a little quicker, but you can watch me put them on. Okay, so I actually did all the boxes. I just stopped for a couple things, but here's a larger one, the taller one. And you see how I put all the panels on. And then here's the smaller one. That's the one with the hole in the top lid for the straw to go through. So it's the same thing on both, and you can tell they get stronger as you put these on. So I just want to stop here so I can just show you that there is a little bit of difference. So in the height, so that it should be the taller part on the top, but you can see if you put it on, it'll look wrong. So I just wanted to show you that because somebody might get to a point where they get confused or put it on wrong the first time. Just make sure you have it the correct way before you put glue on it and you get it on the box. So this part I'm just gonna, and be careful about not gluing on top of the box because you can easily get glue on it. So, and if you're wondering, a lot of people email me and ask me, so I know the tall part is on the top, ask me how to use their software, how to use it in Cricut. That's the most people that call me is Cricut, but I also have some tutorials on Silhouette. So if you go to the web page, this is a tutorial on how to put it together, but if you want to know how to cut it, we just have basic tutorials on our website under the top menu under Need Help. So it'll show you how to import them into Cricut Design Space if you use Design Space or Silhouette Studio Design Edition or above, because you do need Designer Edition or above to use SVG files. And a lot of people will also say, why don't you have DXF files? But it really has to do with the quality of the file. SVG files are higher quality. Especially I do a lot of, these are just basic boxes. but I do a lot of 3D items as well, and when it comes to curvy lines, DXF files are a little bit picky, so I just do them all the same way. I had a little bit of a cutting issue. So that's how that just centers. So I'm basically at the end, I'm going to show you all the similarities between the boxes, and then I'm going to put together the boxes separately. And you'll be able to jump to the section. So if you want to know how to do the small box only, I'm actually going to do the small box first and then the large box. So if you want to jump ahead to the tall box, you can just click the link, just look for the link below to jump ahead. So the other thing I wanted to tell you was I make these boxes intentionally pretty simple, and the reason why is that the people that want these, which I'm assuming most people are, they want to highlight their personalized item. So I'd rather that be the focus than the box. So I just try to make a good box to put it in, so you at least can show it off, you know, if you're giving it as a gift. And these are not suitable for shipping, really. So, because they're just not strong enough, you want to get a different kind of box for that. So for both boxes, so that's the small one, and you can see the lighter blue is the small one, and the darker blue. For here, each box has an insert. So this insert, all you've got to do, we don't glue it because we'll let the box hold it, but you're going to fold the 4 sides over. So that's the same on both boxes. And what it does, it'll sit in the box, and the cup will sit like that. Okay. So to hold it in place, so when you're moving it around. So that's that. So those are the same. So now we come to the differences. So it's a smaller box, so we're going to do that one first, put it together. Actually, what I'll do is show you the lid, because the lid is identical. The only difference is that there's holes. So let's do the lid first, and then we'll do the actual box, and then the tall box. Well, let me get this little, have just a little bit of a panel sitting up there. If you do like our boxes and our videos, I always ask if you could give us a little thumbs up, like our video, and or subscribe to our channel if you are interested in things like this in the future. And you can always click that little notification bell to the right, and it'll let you know when we have new content. And I do tutorials here and there. This year's been a little bit different because I relocated from one state to another in the U.S., and so it was a lot of work this year. So with the lid, you're just going to glue these tabs inside to the back of this panel, the adjacent panel. So I like to, you can do them one at a time. I just fold it in, line it up. I'm just checking to make sure that you're in focus here, but I'm just lining this edge up to the tab fold. I don't get to get my cataract fixed. I'm younger for it, but I'm not getting it fixed until I'm looking for sympathy, but sometimes I can't tell whether it's out of focus or not. And I don't want it to be out of focus. Hopefully in January that'll change. So you can see these, we just go ahead and glue it on the inside like that. And what I like to do, once you get the hang of it, I don't use this type of paper all the time, so just so you know too, I use art glitter glue, and I normally use American Crafts textured cardstock, 80 pound. But this is coordination because I wanted a craft paper look, and I happen to have a whole stack of it. So not all paper glues the same, actually. So some you have to hold a little longer, glues are different, but I do like art glitter glue. But normally what I do with lids, if you're doing a couple of them at once, first of all, keep your finger clear of glue. I like to hold one tab while I glue the next, basically. So usually I'll do the last two that way. Line it up. So make sure it's lined up, that edge to the tab fold. Make sure it's lined up on the bottom. Then I normally do, what I do is I hold it, continue to hold it until I glue the next one, make sure it's nice and secure and glued on before I go to the last one. And that finished that out off. You may have heard my dogs barking. So now we have the lid done. And again, I have a little wet paper towel that I keep to wipe off excess glue and or get my fingers a little clean. So that's the same for both boxes. So let's go ahead and do the actual box. So what we want to do, obviously we want to make sure all the tabs are folded first. And this one is a little thinner, so you just kind of fold over like that. Then we're going to go ahead and just put some glue on this one tab here. Carefully line it up. So I'm lining it up to this edge right up to the fold. I should have pulled it down just a little bit. So then you can just fold this one over and it'll line right up. You want to make sure you get a little glue, enough glue coverage right at the edges here, because it's such a large box, it actually will start pulling apart on you if you don't get enough glue there. That's why I use wet glue, so I can get coverage. Oh, I did forget, because I didn't cut it out, but you can cut a window if you want to, like a window, acetate window. What you could is, it's just acetate, it's just a clear window. You could cut it out and you could either put it in between, sandwich it between this and the box, or, so that's in the file, you'll see that. Or you could glue it like right on the inside while it's flat, right in here. So there's two ways to do this. So normally if you're going to hold a lot in a box, I would say glue it, making sure that it still doesn't go focus, like that. And the reason is it'll hold more weight like that. Okay, and if that's the case, if you want to do that, we're going to glue that in the bottom, and you can always glue this as an extra support underneath there to hide the tabs. Or you can glue them on the inside. So we'll do one on the outside and one on the inside. Okay, so for the small one, we'll do it on the outside. So, because if you do add something to the cup, it might, so you can see we're adding glue. If you had something a little heavy inside the cup, then it might help to do this. But if you're just gifting a personalized cup or a non-personalized cup, just a Starbucks cup, then that wouldn't be necessary. It's such a super light cup. So I'm just kind of pushing it gently inside, and I'm pushing them in, and then I'm just going to reach inside. So if you have a window here, you can't do that. You'll have to reach in, okay? So to me, as much paper as you invest in a box like this, that's up to you whether you want to put that front window on. So if you put the, if you want to see what it looks like, how to glue it together, if you want to put the tabs on the inside, just forward to the piece in the large tall box. So, but now if you want to just add additional support, this rounded piece is here, and you can just glue it on there. So I'll just super quickly glue it on there. So that really is just presentation. If you don't care whether that's a way to save paper too. If you don't care what it looks like, that's up to you. Some crafters care, some don't. It just depends on what you're using the box, who you're giving it to. Some people, because we do have a limited commercial license, so you could put in one of your personalized items tumblers in here that you're selling. But please read our terms of use if you're interested in that. But there's plenty for a small business. Plenty, and it's free. A free limited commercial use. So there we go. So that one's like that. So let me show you what, let's put the insert in. So now, that folded, I'm just going to gently place it in here. And it does fit in there, it's just, you want to get it as square as possible because you don't want to put any stress on this outside piece. Once you get it straight down, you can push down. If you don't have a front piece, you can just slide it down and push it down. If you wanted to, you can put a little dab of glue down there to keep it down, but because it will kind of inch up. And then it goes like this. Let me put the lid on. Then there it is. So that's what it looks like with just this smaller box. So let's go ahead and put that large box together. So the other thing I wanted to note, I put the other lid together. When you're putting the lid together, what helps also is once you get these two of them glued, you can go ahead and use the table and press down. So I just didn't show you that. So that's what it kind of, when you overlap a little bit, that's what it does. But there's enough give in there if you accidentally do that. So I already put together, glued one tab right here. So this goes together exactly the same way. Again, if you wanted that window, find the window in the file and cut it out of acetate. The other thing I use is old overhead transparencies, because I got a box of, people don't use them anymore. So I got a box from a good friend. It was just extra stuff, but it works really well. So there's, if you want to use that. So we'll go ahead and close this. So with the short box, for those that are just watching the tall box section and forward it ahead, for the short box I showed how to glue the bottom tabs to the bottom. So for this one I'm going to glue them on the inside. But there's also an additional step that we don't do on the short box. So I'm just going ahead, and I got those two long tabs glued, so we line that one up, and then we glued this one, just folded it over. And make sure you just get a lot of pressure on to get that nice and secure. You can tell the panels really make it a lot stronger. So if you're wondering why I include those, that's the reason. So for this one, you'll notice that it's too long. So I couldn't, for mat size, for generally 12 by 12 mat size, I couldn't have this attached, so we have to glue it. So there's two of these. One's a support, and it has rounded edge corners. Put that aside, take the one with the sharp corners, and we're going to go ahead and line it up right here. So we're just going to add glue on this one tab. I'm going up to the top as much as I can here. Normally I'd go on the inside, but for this one it's just easier to glue it on the outside, and then we're going to glue the rest of the tabs on the inside just to show you. But you could do it on the outside if you want to glue them on the outside for a little bit of additional strength. It's up to you what you put in your cup. If you put nothing in your cup, I say you can glue them on the inside, but I also think it's super easy to do it on the outside. So I'll tell you, my preference is to glue them this way. So when I talk about that, it's either push this in and glue it like this, or glue it on the inside and have glue like this. So if you want to do it like this, you can do it. Make sure you just kind of square it out there. we're just going to add glue to the, so let me just get it down here so it's easier to see. We're going to add glue to these 3 tabs, and then we're going to fold it over and line it up. I personally think this is a little bit more difficult for people, but once you do it like 1 or 2 times, it's not that bad. This one is just such a big box that it's a little bit awkward, especially if you have small hands. So I have small hands, so it just makes it difficult for me to grasp. So I'm just going to fold it over so we can do it like this. I'm going to show you from a different view, but I'm just lining it up, making sure that these edges line up. So if you want to see the other method, go watch, just forward through to the section in the shorter box. This is the tall box, the other one's a short box. Again, if you want to go back to that, there's a link below. So you can just go to that section. So once you do that, get it lined up, if you don't have a window, you can just reach in and apply pressure. It becomes a little bit of an issue if you do have a window. Then you can use something like this, a wooden chopstick, to apply additional pressure on the inside. So here's another reason why I wouldn't use a window, because it's just a lightweight gift anyways. But somebody who asked for this box wanted a window option, so I said I would include it. Doesn't mean you have to cut it out. So now that we've done that, here's this little rounded piece can glue right here. So the super easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is obviously, again, if you have no window, you can just reach in, and you can't really see it, but I'm just going to add glue around the edge. You can add it to the actual piece. I think it's this easier. You don't have to go to the edge. We just want it to sit back there. We're just hiding the tabs and giving it additional support. Then you can just angle it in like that. It's slightly smaller, so it should just fall into place. You can see that. Then I'm just going to apply pressure. And then I didn't fold this one, but this is the same exact, move that out of the way, same exact insert as the other one. So we're going to do the same. I'm just going to fold it really well so I can insert it from the front, I mean the top. So you can see from the top, that's just because my placement of the camera, how I just put it straight in, just kind of gently guide it. You'll probably want to stand up for this. I'm not, but you don't have to include this either. This is just an extra that some people like. Should be tight enough to kind of sit in there, but if it's not, you could dab some glue down there on the bottom edge prior, just to get it sitting in place. So in that way now, I'm going to see it from the top. So you could leave this drawn here if you have a cover on it, which mine came with the cover. I have not used it, I just went and bought one. But if you're going to give it as a gift, you could just keep it covered. And the problem is the cover started kind of, I was pulling the straw in and out, so I broke the cover. Or you could take it out and put it to the side if you want to do that. So that's up to you. But I made it tall enough. So here we go. This is what it looks like. So that's what the one with the really tall one. So it fits in there, and you can see, I made it so you could see the front of this completely. And then again, just for a reminder, I'll show you the other one. So this too will highlight anything you do if you personalize it. There it is. The difference is, like I said, there it sticks out. So for that one, I would say you would want the straw covered. So if you're selling them or something like that, or buying them as a gift, I would just keep the plastic wrap still on. Depends on what you normally do. So that's that. Again, if you like this project, please give me a thumbs up. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.